Hello, Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hope you're all safe, sound, and healthy. And I think I just began my podcast at the wrong time. I was waiting for it to be Maghrib. Don't tell me Maghrib azans have started yet. It's not yet time. So, who's the Maulvi who's in a hurry? There's always this one Maulvi who always seems to, get everything out of whack. Anyway, I hope that my voice this time doesn't give up on me because, to be honest, I had cream cake, some cake with cream. I seriously, okay, sorry, pet peeve, recent pet peeve. Why do people bring cream cakes over? Seriously, nobody likes cream cakes. They're more expensive than the other cakes. Nobody likes them. Why do people bring them? Seriously, I don't care how fresh these cakes are. They only last a few hours. After that, you just cannot tolerate them. I don't know how people can consume these things. Everybody I listen to has a problem with cream cake, and yet everybody wants to bring cream cake over to other people's homes, especially when you're a diabetic. Please have some regard. When you're bringing something over to people's homes when you know that they're diabetic, then please just try to get something that is actually edible and non-poisonous for them. Anyway, back to the actual point here, which is, again, people would again say that, oh well, so many things are happening and all of a sudden, I'm not saying much about anything. I didn't have much to say about the police versus army thing. Again, the reason why I don't have much to say about anything is because at the end of the day, I'll just sound like a parrot, repeating myself, where I'll keep on saying, remember, I said, oh, this is going to happen. See, it's happening. So, it's a bit weird and irritating, actually, and very annoying that, I have to always say that, see, I said this a year ago, it's happening. I said this 13 years ago, it's happening. The problem is that we all can see what's happening. We all know exactly what's happening. My main problem, as always, is the fact that we are so slow in actually doing something concrete about it. The process is so slow because our people do not have a history of actually fighting. As I've said before, again, a gazillion times, our people do not know how to stand up for what is right, how to fight for what is right. They've been literally handed everything on a platter. And this is why they think that it's their right to just lay back, and have somebody else do all the hard work for them, set the table, cook the meals, and they are just there to come and have their meals, just to eat. Yeah, that is really wrong. The whole attitude is wrong. That's why. But yeah, okay, let's examine a few things, because I do have a few things to say regarding some of the most recent events or incidents. One being the Corps Commander, Safdar, who just resigned, and everybody's making such a hullabaloo about it, that he had 2 years to go, or a little over 2 years to go, and he could have been in the list for one of those shortlisted for the future chief of army staff, and then he suddenly resigns 2 years before his actual retirement time. And some people are saying that it's because he's had enough. My question here, my take: number one, if he had enough, why didn't he resign 2 years ago? If he really had a problem with what the army was doing, why didn't he resign immediately when the army committed treason against the people of Pakistan? Seriously, what was he waiting for? What miracles was he waiting for, especially when he wasn't the one performing the miracles? Now, we do know that there were people in the army. Remember, again, let me just reiterate. We have factions. Our army is divided, our establishment is divided, okay? You have the pro-Pakistani faction, and then you have the pro-American faction. So the pro-Pakistani faction actually suffered because they did try to rebel against the traitor. They did try to start a mutiny. They were offed. Remember the court-martials, the sudden court-martials of lieutenant colonels and brigadiers and commanders? What was all that? That was the pro-American treacherous faction offing all those in the army that were fighting against them, that were fighting against their treason. Okay? So, yeah, I don't think he was one of them, or he would have been offed. Maybe he was one of those really heroic people who was probably working undercover. But then, okay, if you were working undercover, so after 2 years of working undercover, trying to, get things back to normal, you've realized that you've failed, you can't do it. So you decided to resign. I don't know. You know what I think? I think that most likely he was probably made to resign, you know, just like a few others who were made to resign, like a few judges who were removed forcibly because, they were no longer needed, or they refused to do whatever it is that was asked of them. So maybe this time he refused to do something, or maybe they just realized that they didn't need him anymore. Maybe they thought that, he would prove to be actually a nuisance in the future, and they forced him to resign, number one. Number two, maybe he realized that he would have no chance in hell to be the future COAS. So better resign, because as you know, in the army, many people retire as colonels because they know that after that they're not going to become generals, and it's a waste of time. So they prefer to take early retirement. Now, keeping that in mind, I would say that maybe he has realized that he has no future, and he decided to take an early retirement. So, these are the two things that I think. I don't think he suddenly grew a conscience. I think that he just decided that, okay, he can't see any future for himself. He's not going to be the future COAS. And so he's just removing himself from the picture, he's bowing out. Okay? Or, as I said, maybe he is forced to bow out because he no longer is required. So, there is that. Now, when it comes to Iran and Israel, let's talk about them, because some people are thinking that the US is very serious in and honest in its statements, in which it says that it does not, that it is against Israel retaliating, right? Well, hello. First of all, the US statements are never sincere and they're never real. Whatever the US government mouthpieces say, it's not necessarily what they think. Especially considering how the US has been provoking Iran for years, not just Israel. People think Israel was provoking Iran. Israel wasn't the only country provoking. The US has been provoking Iran for years, just so that they could trap Iran into some sort of a situation where they could, declare it an enemy and, wage war. And because Iran actually was too smart to fall into that trap, the US was actually getting pretty hopeless and helpless and desperate. And so we have right now here Israel and the US once again working to try to trap Iran. So yeah, they attacked Iran's embassy, and obviously Iran had the right to retaliate. You cannot retaliate a retaliation. This is one thing that I've always found that very insane. When it comes to villains and perpetrators and criminals, they always seem to think that they can do whatever it is that they want to the other person. The other person, the victim, has no right to defend themselves. As soon as the victim defends themselves, then the perpetrators, they again retaliate. Yeah, well, let me tell you one thing. It's the victims who retaliate, okay? So Iran actually retaliated. What Iran did was a reaction to America's and Israel's action. And every action has an equal and opposite reaction. This is the law of physics, right? So if you perpetrate a crime against somebody, that person has the right to retaliate. You do not have the right to in turn retaliate. No, because now if you strike again, this is not you retaliating, this is you once again perpetrating a crime against your victim. You understand? So yeah, this is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit, and you know it. So yeah, America's statement is also bullshit. This is just for optics. This is not what they mean, because they have been dying to get to this point. As I've said it before, America has been dying to full-fledgedly explode the World War. The World War has been ongoing. It started with the Gulf War. But America, very unfortunate for America, that war didn't explode into a full-fledged World War. So now they are doing it this way, that they are perpetrating crimes against Palestine very blatantly, very shamelessly. And this time they have finally forced countries to take sides. As I've said before, remember, the minute countries start taking sides, you know that the World War is now officially in progress. So we've seen China and Russia obviously on one side. We've seen the criminals, which are Europe, America, and Israel and their allies on the other side. Their allies being countries like India. Again, this is also just, for show and its optics, where India always talks about how it is not the ally of America, when I've always, again, reiterated that India is, in fact, the true ally of America. Pakistan, South Korea, other countries, Muslim and non Muslim, who are supposedly and allegedly allies of America, these are not allies. These are countries that America has tried to control in the name of alliance, so that they could enslave these countries, control them, use these countries to wage wars, as Pakistan has been used and abused a lot. And so has Korea, by the way. The Korean soil has been used. Ukrainian soil has been used to instigate a war against Russia. So there you have it. So now, as of where Iran stands, I think Iran stands in a very good position. Iran is no fool. One of the best things you see about countries being countries solely developing themselves whilst in isolation is that they truly achieve their goal of being 100% independent, 100% sovereign, 100% self-sufficient. And that is what, and so they're so strong that actually America and Europe, they're fools when they think that they're sanctioning other countries and they're one-upping them. Actually, America and Europe are doing them a great favor, an immense favor, when they sanction countries like that, because these countries then become the very concrete, solid rivals, unmatched. So we have China and Russia that actually isolated themselves. Forget sanctions. Nobody had even the audacity to sanction them, really, because you could say they sanctioned themselves initially. They isolated themselves and they worked on becoming independent. They worked on becoming a force. And the same is with Iran. So despite all the sanctions against Iran and others, and now North Korea and stuff, actually what happens is, or should we say that because of all these sanctions, they have grown into mighty forces that America and Europe and Israel cannot even fathom. They can't even deal with them. And that is a fact. So I would say that if America is actually truly against right now an immediate retaliation of Israel, or should I say another perpetration of another attack by Israel, it's probably because maybe something just came into the mix. Maybe, spanner hit the works, and they've had to halt their plans in an emergency. And this was their message, in a way of saying that, because listen, if they really are against Israel attacking Iran, then they would not give them weapons, which we know that for a long time they'd sort of withheld that, and they'd withheld funds as well for quite some time, which was still under debate. So they've immediately released the funds and they've immediately released weapons, to upgrade Israeli weaponry. Again, this is not, let me repeat, this is not because Israel has proved that Iran is an enemy and that Israel is in danger. No, no, no. This was part of the plan, remember? Again, this is something that the US and Israel worked together. They worked together for a very long time to force Iran to retaliate. So, yeah, releasing of the funds, releasing of the weapons, this is just due process. And Iran is just an excuse. And it's not like America doesn't know that. And it's not like that this is an achievement of Israel. No, this was in the works and it went according to plan. And now the Azan has started, so I will take a pause and then we'll pick up from where we left. Right, I'm back. So we stopped at the plans. And actually, if you actually look at our own government and our army and all, I would say that you could actually see the height of Zionism in Nawaz Sharif, especially. I mean, yes, you would see it in Zardari and his family, but you would particularly see Zionism and Nazism in Nawaz Sharif and his family, especially Maryam Nawaz, the brothel keeper. Because if you look at Madam, and the way how in the history of Pakistan, women have never been attacked before, children never. We have had the worst of dictatorships, Ziaul Haq being the worst, one of them anyway. And nobody has ever dared to ever touch women, children. And yet this time, as we know, the army and the Punjab police, they assaulted women, they assaulted the elderly, they assaulted kids, they assaulted young people, they assaulted and attacked, even those who were, handicapped. They assaulted disabled people. They actually barged into people's homes. They went against the Islamic, um, you know, the Islamic rule of Parda. They broke that. So, and this was all done at the orders and the behest of a woman, Maryam Nawaz. What does that tell you? I mean, we've had a lot of men and women come and go. We've had a lot of male leaders who have actually exercised authority, but not a single one of them dared to do this. But she, being a woman, she's a woman, and she violated women's rights. So imagine that in Pakistan, a woman violated women's rights. No man has ever actually violated women's rights in Pakistan, in any official capacity. But a woman who illegally, she's not even elected, she illegally becomes the chief minister of Punjab. And even before she was elected, even before she actually entered Pakistan, even before, she could actually grasp hold of the government, she had already started using and ordering the Pakistani army as well as the Punjab police as if they belonged to her father, as if she inherited them. Again, why? Because their masters, America, paid them in dollars and told them that their immediate boss was Maryam Nawaz. She was the one paying them in dollars on behalf of America. Sometimes America paid them directly, right? But the point is that because she is the representative of the same Jews, the same Nazis, the same Zionists, that we are supposed to be, against on a matter of principle. And yet, they actually have the gall to talk about Imran Khan and his family and his supporters, and they try to always link Imran Khan with the Jewish lobby, and yet again, who is the one that actually is displaying heavy fascism, Nazism, and Zionism? It's Punjab police and Pakistan army, again at the orders of Maryam Nawaz. So these dogs and pigs are the ones that are getting humiliated instead of trying to humiliate our women. And why am I talking about this all over again? Is because Bushra Bibi, the wife of Imran Khan, has once again placed a complaint or lodged a complaint or filed a petition in court regarding the illegal installation of cameras in her bathrooms. I mean, what are they trying to achieve by placing cameras in a woman's bathroom? It is illegal, and in Islam it is even worse than haram, Because once again, as I said, they have violated the sanctity of a woman's privacy, which in Islam is above everything else. In Islam, the sanctity of a woman's privacy exceeds everything. It's above everything. And to actually just so nonchalantly go and break that, that tells you that these people are literally Zionists. They're following their Zionist bosses. They are Zionists. They're not Muslims. Well, this has already been established. Maryam Nawaz, the Sharif family, they're not Muslims. I don't care what is it, whatever it is that they're trying to say. They're not Muslims. They don't pray. They don't, they don't fast. They don't practice Islam in any way. I don't know in what way do they call themselves Muslims. They are munshrik and they are munafiq, but they are by no terms and in no terms and in no way are they Muslims. This is an established fact. And the fact that they're so ready to destroy their a country and a whole mass just for the sake of worldly benefits, you know because all they want to do is to just loot and plunder. That just shows you the kind of low lives that they are. And I'm including Zardari in this too, because look at Zardari. What does he do? He's even worse. At least Maryam Nawaz pretended to run a campaign, you know and she lost heavily and she stole the mandate. That's another different story, but at least she pretended to run a campaign. But Zardari's daughters, the two of them, they did not even show their faces. They did not even run the campaign because they were not even a part of the campaign. They did not even file the forms for contesting the elections. And yet one of them has already been put into a position. She's been parachuted directly into a position. She's taken oath for a position that she never even contested for. And the actual contestants, they were, especially the PTI contestants, was just removed. He was kidnapped, and only recently, only now, after she took oath, was he released, or just before she took oath, he was released. So, I mean, this is something again that I kind of, this is something that I had been saying for a long time, that Maryam will act as if she owns this country. She will be self-declared queen. But Zardari would then come and say that no, you could just go and be a princess if you want to. My daughters are going to be the queens. And as we can see, Zardari, actually said that his daughter should be given the title of first lady. Why is a daughter first lady? You do realize that a first lady is supposed to be a spouse, right? Is your daughter your spouse? I mean, imagine, just look at, just look at the lack of integrity in these people. Just look at the kind of low life gutter snipes they are. And that is why, America and England, they prefer such gutter snipes. And they, whenever they have a country in their grasp, it's because they plant these kind of gutter snipes in those countries and they make them leaders. Because they know these are just rats. These are rats, these are gutter snipes. They have no value. They're just, they're from the slums. You just give them anything. And again, basically, they're dogs and they're pigs, really. And you know what the saying is about dogs and pigs. So there you are. So this is where we stand today. And once again, I would, keeping that in mind, now I would question the so-called, the alleged protests. There's this big fuss going on about how, Maryam Nawaz has angered the oil tanker unions and the petroleum union and the gas union, and the non-Bhai union, because, because she has ordered the non-Bhai union that the rotis and the naans in the market should be their prices should be cut down to 16 rupee. First of all, even that is a lot. Why are they even that much? There was a time when, just only until recently, rotis were worth only 10 rupees. Just a few years ago, they were worth only 2 rupees. So the fact that they have gone so high that they can't even bring them back down to 16 rupees is pathetic. And for Maryam to display her ignorance again, as she's queening it in Punjab, saying that no, it should be lowered, and the non-Bhai Association are trying to say that you do realize that we cannot lower the price of the rotis, which is basically bread. Remember, this is in Pakistan and India, the flat bread that we eat, right? So it's a staple food. And so if they're saying that okay, fine, we don't even have a problem with reducing the price, but you need to make everything else cheaper around us, make gas cheaper, make petrol cheaper, make wheat cheaper, because the farmers are also pretty angry, because apparently, although the Punjab government, whenever it is ruled by the Sharif family, they have always stolen from the farmers. They've always, paid them less than the actual value of crops and harvests. And this time, I think they actually went beyond that, taking their rights away, paying them next to nothing, and not even buying from them, forcing them to keep a lower rate, and then not even buying from them, not even stocking it, and not even subsidizing it. As we know, we have IMF to thank for that not subsidizing thing. But anyway, this has obviously created more inflation and more economic crisis. Obviously, it's a cycle, remember, it's a cycle. But you know what I find hard to believe? That the oil tanker unions, which are actually mafia, the oil tanker mafia is a mafia. The petroleum mafia is a mafia that is directly controlled by both Nawaz Sharif and Zardari. Then you have the gas mafia, which is once again controlled by Nawaz Sharif, right? These are all mafias, and they're all directly under the Sharif family and Zardari family. And you're trying to tell me that I should believe you that these so called unions are actually going against the Punjab government, that they're actually protesting against them. You know what I think? I think that this is again another drama. This is another drama, another show that they're putting on, another spectacle. I think they've worked, and they are working together behind the scenes, and they're being told how to pretend to have this whole protest and stage a protest, and create a scenario in which people would say that, oh yeah, this is and then they will reach a good conclusion, and they will say, oh look, we finally reached a negotiation, we've made a deal, and everything is fine, and Mariam rules again. You get it? I think that's what they're playing at, because I refuse to believe that these mafias have actually grown a conscience, because these are not unions. Remember, these are mafias. They are directly controlled, again, I'll repeat, by the Sharif family and the Zardari family. So yeah, I'm sorry, I find it very, very hard to believe that they are actually, going to voice any protest, any genuine protest against the government. All these price hikes, after all, who does it benefit? If the petroleum price hikes, who does it benefit? Zardari and Nawaz Sharif. If the gas price hikes, who does it benefit? Who is taking all our money and pocketing it? Look at all the taxes, the hidden taxes, the illegal taxes, the legal taxes. Where is it all going? All that money from IMF, not a cent has been poured into Pakistan. Where is all that money? They start gifting cars and briefcases of money, and they start opening up secret accounts abroad every time IMF pays them money, and they set their few people up, and that's it. Not a single cent goes to the country, which is why one also obviously always suspects the IMF as well of foul play, because the IMF knowingly is committing fraud by giving money to its minions, basically, because IMF is basically America. So America is using the IMF to pay its minions off, to get the job done, the goons and the thugs, to get the job done. And and then they're going to pretend that, oh, it's aid for, or it's it's loans, and we are the guarantors. Without our permission, we are forced to become guarantors of said loan. And this is how they benefit each other. They benefit each other, and they F us. It's as simple as that. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not going to believe all this BS, this crap. I think this is just another drama that's being staged. So I don't care. Yes, when it comes to the farmers, yes, I do actually believe that the farmers are suffering. I do believe that this is a page out of Modi's book that they've taken. And they're like, oh wow, Modi was quite successful in vexing the farmers in India and screwing them up. Let's do exactly what he did. So there we are. Remember, Zardari and Nawaz Sharif and their families They are generational slaves. They're turncoats. So they're generational slaves of America and Britain. And they have to sell their children over to America and Britain as well. Because in their family, there is no, once you become a traitor, once you are, an official asset and traitor of these countries, there is no way out. There's no escape. You, your sons, your daughters, their sons, their daughters, their grandsons, granddaughters, their children of the children of the children. They will continue to be slaves and puppets, minions, of America and Britain. That is how it works. Yes, the age-old traditional, generational slavery that has always occurred during ancient times, of when you had families of traitors that they actually pledge allegiance to a certain country, and it's understood that their children have to follow it. Yes, it still actually exists, believe it or not, in the post-colonial world. And that is why I will again repeat myself and say, these people are just here to loot and plunder. They'll take whatever it is that they need, because that is what they're here to do. They already have their escape routes mapped. They're going to leave us floundering once again in utter destruction. And notice that this time, the damage that they did before Imran Khan became prime minister, that damage is nothing compared to the damage that they will do now. And now, even if you have 100 Imran Khans, which by the way you will not, because I can tell you one thing, nobody is as lucky as we've been, where we have had 2 Qaid-e-Azams bestowed upon us. We have had Muhammad Ali Jinnah, and then we've had Imran Khan. Nobody, no country is that lucky in a lifetime to get, in less than 100 years, 2 such leaders. And we are extremely unlucky and pathetic in that we could never actually help them the way we could have. We've never actually made it possible for them to complete their goals, to achieve their goals, which are always us. We are their goals. Their goals is to give us that ultimate country, that ultimate state that everybody dreams of. And so I can say it very clearly, there is no other leader after Imran Khan. He was the last, he is the last. And even if you have 100 Imran Khans, you will now never be able to get up from the damage that these people have done already. The damage that they did before Imran Khan came, that damage, it would have taken us on a good day 50 years to undo. Now, forget 100 years. Just forget it. And let us just continue to just laze around, become lazy bums, and expect another Masiha who will never come, while we just wring our hands, and do nothing. I know we're all doing everything. But again, I will say it again, we're doing it the wrong things. We're doing it in the wrong way. The whole country needs to come out, not sections of country. The whole country needs to come out. We need to paralyze the state. We need to cripple the state. We need to bring these pigs out, and we need to slaughter them, to send a message to the whole world, not to ever mess with us again. And this is me signing out. Khuda Hafiz.